tangannya tulisan Bali, Mbak, gimana ya?
Welcome. What is Balinese magic? Why must we talk about it? And perhaps more importantly, who am I? And what makes me knowledgeable about this subject? Welcome to the channel. My name is Reny. And in 2009, I received in the north of Bali in the province of Buleleng the initiation to become a Balinese medicine man. Just to make things clear, what you saw before the intro, that was me receiving a Malukat Mabayu ceremony at my energetic birthday date. Yeah, that's me with the long hair. It's kind of embarrassing, but hey, that's how I looked back then. For the people who watch this video and go like, who's this guy? He says he's a Balinese medicine man. Well, I didn't say I'm a Balinese medicine man. I say I received the initiation in 2009. Those can be two different things, but if you don't believe me, I can edit in my official diploma. There it was. You can even ask the Indonesian government if you want to have a list of all the Bali shamans, and you can find my name there. My full name is Reginald, by the way. It's just kind of embarrassing to admit. What's weird about this video is not that it's the first time for me talking about this to my regular audience also, but it feels like I'm kind of flexing my spiritual muscles. Look at me. I'm a medicine man, you know? And I always had trouble calling myself that. First of all, I stopped practicing as a pamangku a long time ago, you know. So if you're watching this video, you go like, oh, this guy can maybe solve my problems. I'm probably not your guy. So you could probably look for somebody else. I always had trouble calling myself that. And so, you know, sometimes people called me that in the past, but, you know, I always say, if I call you an asshole, does that make you an asshole? Probably not. So somebody calls me medicine, that doesn't necessarily make me a medicine man. But I'm telling you this because it kind of needs the context of the story, and you can understand how long I've lived in these energies, and I can now speak from this place. I'm outside of them, and I can look at them from a distance, and I can, you know, tell you what I found, which I often do in this channel. I received my initiation in 2009, and for 3 years I lived according to the Balinese calendar, which has, I think, 210 days. But that means when it was time for Tumpeg Landing, I did my offerings for Tumpeg Landing, and I honored like my car and my knives. And when it was Saraswati Day, I made my offerings for Saraswati. And when it was Nyepi Day, Nyepi Day, you don't really do anything. That's the point. You just stay indoors. But the point is, I lived my life for 3 years according to the Balinese calendar. And then after that, I moved to Indonesia. And I lived for another year with my spiritual family there, learning the ways of Balinese Hinduism. Also a little disclaimer, like this medicine man, that sounds like in the West, like here in Europe, among some people, like, sounds really good, you know? And they want to become one really bad, because they see it as sort of like a night of status, which there's some truth in that. But like in Indonesia, in Bali, where this is these unbroken lines for like 1500, 2000 years of medicine man, if you go to other cultures where they still have that, you know, they're not so eager to become a medicine man because they know that every gift is a curse. You know, there are two sides to every story, and they realize how big the responsibility is of the pemangku, how much the responsibility is of the medicine man, because you have to like keep in contact with spirit and take care of that, so it's there when you need it always. And then you have to connect the spirit world to the world of man, and you have to be the one standing on that bridge always. So they understand how big the responsibility is. But here, like in Europe, a lot of people don't understand the responsibility. They just see nice energy and then some sort of status. So they tell people a medicine man, they follow them around and they tell me, please teach me, because, you know, I dream about becoming a medicine man. And, you know, we don't all become what we dream about. Otherwise, all the men would be working in the porn industry. My point is, not all dreams are equal, and we don't all become what we dream about. Anyway, first I will tell you how I got the initiation. Then I will tell you what it did to me, and I can like extrapolate the lessons from there. A long time ago, in like 2008, 2007, I wasn't doing well mentally. I was like not feeling happy at all. And it kept spiraling, and it kept getting worse. And I kept getting these really dark thoughts, like, to be honest, these suicidal thoughts. I'm not, you know, dramatizing this. I'm just telling you, it got pretty bad, and they kept getting worse and worse and worse. Just, I was feeling like I was circling the drain, and there was nothing that I could do to collect myself. So I went to Bali once before that, and it was my first taste of a polytheistic society. Balinese Hinduism, by the way, is recognized by UNESCO as a separate religion than the Hinduism that you have in India. It has many of the same deities, but it also has some like different deities. Like in Indonesia, you have Widivasa. You don't have Widivasa in India. So I went there once. So I just like said, okay, I will put all my possessions. I will put them on a pile. I will burn them, and I will leave to Indonesia. I don't know if I'm ever coming back. So that's what I did. I didn't actually burn. I just sold a lot of stuff and got rid of it and just moved to Indonesia. And not long after being there, I came talking to a medicine man. You usually can recognize them because they usually have their hair in like a little knot on top of their head, and they're dressed in white, and they have like lots of jewelry and stuff, like lots of rings, like the Balinese priests are pimping. And he started talking a bit, and he said to me like, you know, we should give you initiation to Pamangku Pajero. And when he said that, I felt like I saw a glass which was broken, and I saw it just become whole for my face. Everything was glued back together. So I was like, this is it. So I like they in Bali, and it's everything is about doing the right thing at the right time, keeping yourself and therefore the universe in balance. So you first have to go to another priest, then you have to do like the astrological math, and then you have a good date, and then you have to do all the stuff that you need to do before that, just to be able to be eligible to get that initiation. And then you have some people that vouch for you. It needs to be drummed up. And the day came, and I spent about a full day in the compound of the high priest of Bulaleng, where he filed my teeth, and he made me eat a chicken's head and all sorts of other crazy stuff. But when he was doing that ceremony, I felt something. I felt like the energy was coming out of the ground while he was ringing his bell and doing his ceremonial stuff, and it grabbed me in my heart, and it just kept me locked on the ground. I couldn't pay attention because there was so much stuff going around. Might be fun if I show you a picture of me getting my teeth filed by like the High Priest of Wulaleng. We could just edit that here. I didn't know that was gonna happen, by the way. It's just like my Balinese mom, Ida Ayu, was like behind me, and she held my she open your mouth, and I was like, why open my mouth? And I saw this like tiny guy with like a massive file coming at my face, and like, what is this? The idea behind that little trick is they believe that we're related to the animals, but mankind is also in a certain way better than animals because we have consciousness and those who don't. So they believe that like those canine teeth that you have, they represent our animal brothers. So they file them. So we become more in control of our animal side, and our animal side doesn't take over, and we become like this vicious barong dancer who's like possessed of animal lust and all that sort of stuff. But I got my initiation, and after that, things got really quiet. Things got really quiet in my head. So I studied with my Balinese family, but it's a very non-dogmatic thing. They expect you to just figure it out. And they basically leave you to figure it out. It's kind of like Odin, like you figure it out. And if you don't, then you don't. Because if you figure it out and you're good, then it's good. And if you don't figure it out and you're bad, then we'll just never hear from you again. I mean, you didn't make it. Simple as that. It's very different than the European approach, which is more about control. I could tell you so many facts about Bali that I'm not going to do right now because it's going to be a really long video. I want to get to the point. A lot of the work you do involves 4 spirits. They believe everybody in this world is born with 4 spirits. They don't call them 4 spirits, they call them 4 brothers. Or as they say, the Kanda and Pat, which literally Kanda means brother and Pat means 4, the 4 brothers. I believe the Balinese names were Angapati, Banaspati, Banaspati Raya, Purjapati. I'm not sure about that last one, but the first 3 were good. Like, if I say those words, I can still go back to that place and how I felt and how I still feel when I say those names. Translated, they are your birth water, your navelstreng, your strain that connects you to the mother koek, the placenta, stuff like that. They're the stuff that's associated with your birth. And which is crazy is because when I'm doing a cider course by Naomi Mirkrida, and she told me that Flikya is connected to also one of those things that you carry while you were born, the placenta. So like the more you dig into it, you get this European, Indo-European roots. But you call on them for protection and for help. And they do help in my experience. But I spend a lot of time thinking what actually happened. Like why when I ring my priest bell, I like rang it at the beginning of this video. I still have this. This is an official priest bell. You rang this, and I've been told you ring this to let them know where you are. So there are ancestors connected to this. And when I pull this out and I ring it, they show up. And I consciously rang it at the beginning of this video because I want them to see where I am now. And I'll hope in their house I'll do it okay, you know, do it justice. Because even though I'm not a Hindu anymore, I believe that, you know, orang Bali, orang Bongan, I believe the people of Bali were good company to me and they taught me a lot. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for them. So I made a small offering, and this is just a small way for me to acknowledge that. But I wondered a lot why it is that why I ring this bell. I ring it, and I get the initiation, and the energy comes out of the ground, and the bad thoughts go away. I spent years figuring that out. Couldn't do it at first. I think I understand now. And I will share it with you. When you call upon those four brothers and those four spirits that are there for you always, even though many of us have forgotten their names and have forgotten the connection, they are still here today. Being born is a really holy thing. If you've ever witnessed a birth, you know there's an energy in the air that's sacred. There's something going on that's bigger than yourself. And in that moment, everything is exactly the way it should be. After you're born, you can go off-road in your mind. You can think crazy stuff and make those crazy stuff real. You think it real and it is real, because that's how powerful your mind is. And then you forget. Not only you forget your brothers, but you forget the underlying wisdom of those brothers, that life is sacred. That your life is sacred and your life is beautiful. And you can't acknowledge that because you're straight from the path. You've lost that beautiful song in your heart that you used to have. So the four brothers. And it's like, you know, those brothers were here first. They were in line with the holiness of getting born. So when you go back, when you honor them, you connect with that same holy power where everything is just right. And all that other stuff that you fucked up along the way, it's gone. And why it's gone? Because it's the first energy. It's dominant over everything else if you just remember it. You can always go back by honoring those four brothers and those four spirits. It could also explain why a lot of people in Bali are really good at keeping the balance. Really good at connecting with that holy energy, but like not as good as using their rational mind. A lot of Balinese people, it's hard to make an appointment with them because they think, like, well, spirit might tell me I need to be somewhere else, so I want to take an appointment. So with my Balinese spiritual family, at one point I got them so far to make it, I say, like like elastic appointment, like it's like a rubber band, it's like, yeah, we have it, but if I want I can still break it, and I'm pretty flexible about it. But it's hard to like get a country running and to get an economy running and to be practical and to really get stuff done if everybody's only like connecting and keeping their balance. But that's enough for critique. I don't want to critique the Balinese people because I owe them a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. As they say in Indonesia, matur suksema, sampai nanti.